I feel it's time to start what may be an ongoing project. I am dubbing this one the Red Comet for rather obvious reasons, and, well, obviously I really like Gundam, so of course I gotta get the, Char Aznable kind of feedback in there.
I came to laugh at you.
Char, you double-crossed me, Char!
But this is a build that I've wanted to do before I even had this blaster. And it's kind of, well, I've done a Caliburn, I've done a Prophecy, I've done a pretty dicked-out Retaliator. Really, the next logical step is doing a Nerf Longshot build, which is supposed to be the most powerful, or at least was until I saw 400 FPS Caliburn builds out there. But it was one of the most popular and powerful builds you could do for a very, very long time. In fact, when it comes to blasters, this was pretty much the end game when it came to even super stock and NIC levels, unless you count things like homemades. And, well, I'm going about this basically the most expensive way I possibly can. Really, honestly, I'm quite fortunate because I didn't have to buy any of these things. In fact, when you consider the fact that I'm using a, Red Longshot that I didn't have to purchase myself. This was sent to me by a fan in my Discord that goes by the name Drunk Canadian. I thank you very, very much for this beautiful, beautiful blaster. And I have to preface this by saying, well, a lot of people out there really respect the Red Longshot, and I do as well. I'm not one of those fools that's going to destroy it for the sake of destroying it. I'm not going to be cutting things off of it. I'm not going to be doing anything stupid to this blaster, but I did not have to pay for this, and I don't want to just keep it on a shelf and have it do basically nothing. I'm going to modify this and do about as much to it as I possibly can. And thus, it's red, I like Gundam, this is the Red Comet. And of course, the Longshot has a lot of kits that you can buy to stuff inside of it to give it all varying levels of performance, and again, I'm quite fortunate because I did not have to purchase these. In fact, the kit I'm going to be putting in here today was sent to me by Lighttake and by proxy nfstrike.com, and I thank them profusely because I wouldn't be able to do most of this without that. Goes without saying, but you don't have to have these kinds of kits. In fact, if you want to take the time to make a complete brass breach and do everything perfectly, you would get even more performance using many of these parts than I would with my pusher breach that I'm about to install in here. But, obviously, I don't want to take the time to kind of dial that kind of stuff in, making angel breaches and all this crazy stuff. I'm just going to do a drop-in kit for the most part, but that will give us an idea to see what exactly the Longshot is capable of if you want to go the somewhat easier route. And what exactly am I talking about? Well, of course, we have our Red Longshot, but I've also got components that I need to put in it. This is an entire kit that you can get off Lighttake and nfstrike.com. That is a drop-in replacement for all of your Longshot needs. It includes, and these are from Worker, it includes a 14 kilogram spring, an 18 kilogram spring. These are very, very high powerful springs. I don't think they're meant to go together or anything like that, although it is possible to get a little bit more out of a Longshot. It also comes with Fullmetal internals. Everything you could possibly need, basically, to get this blaster up and running. Again, this entire thing is in one kit that you can buy, or you can buy the individual pieces. You will notice they are in rose gold. Some people have a problem with that. I personally love this color, so I'm perfectly fine with them. And they're not red, I understand that, but I like the contrast of the rose gold internals with this. I could, of course, buy like a red Robo-Man sled for $100 freaking, and I'm sure it's totally worth it, but that's $100 for just a bolt sled. When I got this entire kit, well, I didn't pay anything. I'm doing this as a review, but the entire kit is something like $120 to $150 depending on what day of the week and what color shirt you're wearing, and if you brushed your teeth that morning. Lighttake and NF Strike's prices kind of fluctuate pretty often. However, I just like the look of this. This is gonna look really cool in there. I'm gonna be putting all this stuff in. So, a brief overview. Obviously, you have the springs. This is the bolt sled. It is, of course, made out of metal and is automatically better than the plastic one that you would get. And you're gonna need it because, obviously, these parts, like this thing right here, weighs a lot. This is, of course, your bolts, which will fit in there like that. And then that will go into your plunger tube, and air will travel through it and deliver power to your dart. This is your receiver right here. This is basically your breech face, and that's going to slide in there. And then you've got a barrel like that will go in there. And the rest of these, like a metal catch. You've got, this goes in the rear of your plunger tube. This is a cap to kind of prevent it, you know, when pulling it back, that nothing, like the spring doesn't shoot out the back or anything crazy like that, because we're working with pretty crazy spring loads. And then this is, I assume, a plunger head. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have a trigger. A trigger did not come with this. There is a trigger that you can get, and I hope to get it eventually, but right now, this is what I have. So, I mean, this is basically everything right here. And, there is no replacement plunger tube. I don't think you need one, obviously. It would be cool to have one, but then you have a plunger tube in here that nobody's ever going to see anyway, so yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer, but it's probably not important unless there are plunger tubes out there that actually give you more air volume, whatever significance that could be, because the Longshot plunger tube is absolutely gigantic anyway. But these are all drop-in pieces that replace internals in your Longshot, which means I'm taking the red Longshot internals out and possibly never using them ever again. I don't know if there's a market for that. Maybe somebody has a red Longshot that is broken. Maybe I can sell the internals for something. This is one of those things I'm a little scared about, because obviously this blaster is worth a lot. I don't want to break anything on it. And I say that, the first thing I have to do is claw off that thing. And there aren't a whole lot of them that are modified. They're rare to have to begin with, and then I'm modifying one. So it's a little bit touch and go from here, but we are going to install this kit and get Project Red Comet underway. But first, I have to pull apart this Longshot, and, well, there's no going back. Thankfully, this is one of those parts that isn't exactly important to the blaster, because it's the same on every Longshot, but that's, oh, I didn't even think that broke. Nope, it's perfectly fine. Sweet. All right. No more prime for you. We're going in. Are you ready? The internals of the Red Strike Longshot. And really, it's frickin' pretty, dude, because they're just beautiful. Especially this red bolt sledding and this red jam door, which that will be saved, of course. Huh. I was always wondering, I've never really taken a good look at this, but I'm starting to understand. It's got a unique style for having kind of an enclosed setup, because everything is sealed by this cap in the back. start. Well, actually, I have a small screwdriver here, so let's try using that. And it's actually really easy. Huh, I wasn't expecting it to be that easy. Usually these things are a pain. That being said, no, it doesn't look like it's biting on either side, but it was difficult. Oh, there we go. Popped right out. Cool. Now we can remove it. And remove that. Remove this. Set that aside. I don't think I need it, but man, that is a pretty bolt sled. I'll put that into the save me pile. And I'm still uncertain how I'm going to do this. Actually incredibly confused. How would I do this normally? This one unscrews. This one does not. And obviously, it was welded in there to begin with. Well, good news is, the internals aren't important because they are just standard Longshot plunger tube Longshot bolts. These are not unique to this blaster in any way. And it's starting to look like this was tacked together after it went, because obviously there's literally no way for this to come apart. So I am going to have to cut that. So, yep, I'm taking it to the bandsaw. And better for it. So for this, I'm going to have to unscrew that. I'm going to have to put that in there. There's a little bit of debris, not a whole lot, a little bit. It's, of course, bandsaw. That's going to go in there. There we go. And then I can thread that back on. Huh. Well, that makes a whole lot more sense. I was a little confused why I did that, but now I know why. Alright, so that's in there. Now the part I'm not quite sure about, because this thing is really stuck on there. There's not a good place for me to grab this. I'm going to hold it like this. I'm going to try to get it with the electric drill. There we go. I got it. That is not easy to do that. Now, why this doesn't come with a replacement plunger rod, I'm not entirely certain. I'm guessing there's a reason for that. I probably needed that screw. Oh, it's still there, thank God. I was a little scared I lost that for a second, because I don't think the replacement comes with one. But there we go. That is that. We won't be needing any of that, but we will need this rod, of course. Then, now for the fun part, we're gonna grab the 18 kilogram. Why? I don't know. Because I can. Right? Okay. And we're going to grab our new plunger head as well. Probably already making a mistake. I feel like I'm doing something wrong here. Alright. Alright. That better hold. This is one heck of a spring. That better hold up. Alright. Put that in there. And this is the part I was actually somewhat concerned about, because that's supposed to screw onto the end there. And, well, I'm a little worried about those posts breaking off, of course. But seems like it knows what it's doing. Just going to use the screws that it came with, because it didn't come with any extras. I did realize that in the package there was what looks to be a buffer pad of some sort, which is probably important. Well, it does fit that circle perfectly. That's just resting for a spring. That's not actually doing anything more than compressing the spring. However, up here makes a little more sense, because there will be significant forces applied, and having metal slamming on metal doesn't seem like a good idea, but yet it doesn't doesn't fit on there right. So it has to go back there. I'm guessing there's a reason for it, because that's where it fit perfectly. Oh boy. Don't want to break this. Although, again, this is just the internals. If the internals, like the plunger tube or something, breaks, I am very much capable of ripping apart another Longshot. And replacing it. That's pretty beefy. That is very, very beefy. Wow. Longshots are not to be messed with at all. Alright, let's get our pin in our bolt sled. That doesn't seem right. So I sure hope that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm actually going to tap it in ever so gently with a hammer. So, can I fit this through the other way? I cannot. Okay, well, I will then remove this front piece. I like my approach of not knowing exactly what I'm going to be doing, because I consider myself the average modder. If I can do something, you sure as heck can too. That being said, alright, that makes a little more sense. Not a whole lot more, but a little bit more. That will not fit in there. Yeah. I don't know. That just seems like a better idea to me. I think I'm gonna go with that. I'll just tell that tube. Oh, no, because... what is going on here? Not quite. That'll work for me. Not quite sure how this is supposed to go, but what works, works. I have a feeling that's not what I was supposed to do, but to be perfectly honest, I can't figure out exactly at the moment what I was supposed to do. So at this point, we've basically got the entire internals set. We do, of course, need our trigger, and we do need to put in our catch, but for the most part, the hard stuff is done. So for this, and I'm wondering here, because they give you a catch spring in here, I'm not even going to take it out, because this is the one that came with the spring. Oh boy, does that fit on a different way? There we go. So we're just going to put that in there. Hold on, I think I just kind of figured it out. Why is this being such a pain? What the heck? Catch spring? Nope, ah! It's a freaking catch spring! And my next concern, besides a stupid catch spring popping out, is if the trigger, being plastic, is capable of undoing that catch. Oh, I'm so tired of this! I can rationalize that I probably need a piece of PVC in here so this cannot compress. So I need to cut some PVC. Something like that, I'm guessing. That could just fall out, though. Alright, I watched Nerf gun attachments for a little bit, and Blvd did something similar to this, and that makes sense, because that's not going to go anywhere. It's going to wrap around the other side of the stock, though, isn't it? Rev up the hot glue gun, because hot glue can be undone. You are the worst catch spring! It's so bad! Stay! Gorilla Glue! Are you ready? Yeah! I'm sure there's like a 3D printed piece that fits in there perfectly, but screw this, I don't have the patience for that. Alright. Everything is installed. Everything is potentially ready. Alright, and the catch came undone. Of course it came undone! Stupid catch! This is the worst! I would rather deal with any other... I will take apart Robotics 360 right off. It means I don't have to take apart this catch. What? Nothing wants to close. Okay. Close. There we go. There we go. Hold on. Oh, what is your malfunction? Close. This is like the easiest part. You just go back together. So I have slept on this decision. In order to install this internals kit, I have to cut the shell. Not good, but I don't really see a reason not to. Because it's internal. I doubt I'm going to be replacing these internals. Really, the only thing that would come up is if I wanted to make a brass breach or something, but I just don't have the time or patience for that. And yeah, so I think I'm going to be cutting a red Longshot. Just a little bit, but it basically has to be done. Wasn't looking forward to doing this. Tried to pretty much do everything I could not to, but these pieces will not fit with this ribbing in there. So I will have to cut out that ribbing in order to get this kit to fit. Which, not great, but I guess could be worse. Alright, time to do some irreversible damage. Oh man. Sorry, Longshot. Fits with just that removed. A lot better is the answer to that question. Yeah, I think that's all I technically have to remove. Do it again on this side too. And with that, this should be able to close. Yes, it does in fact close now. Alright, now to put this back together. Well, I was just goofing around and this thing just popped. So that means I need to go find a magazine in order to fire this thing and see exactly how good it's doing right now. Worker mag for worker kit, but I just came to the realization that I'm gonna need to figure out a way to get matching magazines. I guess I could use black, but... Alright. Those bolts. It should be loaded. Cardboard? Well, that was rather excessive. It's time to bust out the chronograph. See exactly what this thing's doing. Okay, so it's obviously hitting a lot harder than before. That being said, for an 18 kilogram spring and full metal internals and all that stuff, it only hitting about 180 FPS is not great. I'm not sure what's going on. I would expect this to hit far harder. This is performing as good as my Prophecy and is performing about as good as my Caliburn. My Caliburn hits anywhere from 180 to 200. This is hitting 180. Prophecy hits about 180 to 200. But this thing has a massive plunger tube with a massive spring in it, and I'm not quite sure what's going on. I don't know if that's a problem on my end. I would very much like your assistance down in the comment section below if you have any idea why this thing's not hitting its mark, but it is performing pretty admirably, all things considered. For a relatively easy drop-in kit, getting that level of performance for, well, that's not a cheap price. About $120, I think, right now for this whole kit. But you don't have to hunt down any of the individual pieces. You don't have to worry about stuff breaking. It's all metal. It's all great. A little bit of cosmetic, like internal snipping to make it fit. Worked pretty good. Overall, the Longshot still looks pretty darn spiffy, and I haven't had to destroy the outside of it yet, which is great, because I don't want to do that, because it's a red Longshot, but I'm not very pleased with that performance mark, so hopefully there's something I missed that's preventing it from hitting like the 250 I was pretty much looking for. I wanted this thing to outperform my Caliburn at the moment. Granted, it is a much lighter spring load. In fact, I was talking about how you shouldn't probably prime this thing one-handed, but I'm capable of doing that pretty easily, I would say. But yeah, hopefully I just did something really stupidly wrong and somebody can point me in the right direction. But this is the first part of the build of the Red Comet, and unless this thing shoots 3 times faster than anything else, I'm not going to be exactly stupidly happy. So, yeah. Next up, obviously, I need to get a pump grip for it, and that is going to be the next part of this build, beyond trying to figure out exactly why this thing's not hitting stupidly hard. I do have one more spring I could test, which is the Nerf Turf 16 kilogram spring, which I've heard a lot of good things about Nerf Turf springs, and I haven't used any of them yet, unfortunately, but a 16 kilogram Nerf Turf spring could outperform the worker one. I'm not entirely sure. Again, not exactly feeling this right now. I wanted about 250, and I'm not getting quite that. I don't know if it's a lack of barrel or whatnot, but hey, again, if you're looking for about Caliburn levels and you want to use a Longshot body, and you already maybe have pump action or something like that, this is a good alternative. But again, Caliburn, Prophecy, both are kind of right in this one's tails right now, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Let me know what you think about this build project down in the comment section below, and again, if you can help me with this one, I'd greatly appreciate it. And hey, if I fix it, and then I can give you a shout out in the next video, because I would very, very much appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching this video. I am Walcom, and of course I hope to see you in an entirely different one.